Have you ever felt like there's this huge, invisible mountain standing right between you and the life you actually want to live? Well, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're diving into Brianna Wiest's amazing book, The Mountain Is You, to really get a handle on the powerful forces of self-sabotage and, more importantly, figure out how to finally conquer them.
Is one of the most frustrating things, isn't it? You commit to a new diet, you're all in, and just a few days later, somehow you find yourself in a drive-thru. Or you swear you're going to start that business, but you keep forgetting to actually work on your brilliant idea. This is the big question we're tackling. Why on earth do we get in our own way?
Well, the source of all this self-sabotage is what the book calls your inner mountain. Just picture two massive tectonic plates grinding against each other inside of you. On one side, you've got your conscious mind shouting, "Yes, let's do this, I want this change." But on the other side, your unconscious mind, driven by these really deep-seated fears, is whispering, "Whoa, hold on, change is dangerous." Maybe it's a fear of failure, or heck, even a fear of success and all the new pressures that would bring. That collision, that's what builds the mountain you have to climb.
So our very first step is to just face this mountain head on. And we have to, because this isn't some obstacle you can just walk around or ignore. The thing is, the longer that inner conflict goes on, the bigger and tougher your mountain gets.
When it comes to change, we basically have two paths we can take. We can choose to initiate the change ourselves, proactively deciding to get healthier or find a career that actually makes us happy. Or we can wait. But if we wait too long, life has a funny way of choosing for us, and usually in a much more painful way, like a sudden health crisis or getting laid off. The goal, of course, is to choose that first path.
Now, before we can even begin the climb, we have to prepare. And that preparation happens at what we can call base camp. This is where we do the really essential work of releasing all that heavy baggage from our past that's been weighing us down for years.
So, how do we even start this? Okay, find a quiet moment and just ask yourself, what change am I resisting the most? As you think about it, really pay close attention to your body. Where do you feel that knot of tension? Is it in your stomach? Your chest? That physical feeling, that's a huge clue. It's pointing you directly to the source of your resistance.
So, once you've found that tension, you can start to release it. First, just focus on it. Then, ask it where it came from. I know, it sounds a little strange, but a memory might just pop into your head. Maybe your resistance to changing jobs brings up the sting of being laid off years ago. The next step is to revisit that memory. Not to relive the pain, but to just sit with your younger self in that moment. And finally, you reassure that past version of you that it's going to be okay, that you got through it, and that good things actually came from that experience.
And what's so fascinating here is that this whole process is deeply physical. As Brianna Wiest puts it, unprocessed emotions literally get stuck in our bodies. That's why you might actually feel something during this exercise. You might cry or even sweat a little. Think of it like flushing out a system that's been clogged for a long, long time. It's a release that has to happen.
Okay, with the weight of the past released, you're lighter, you're ready to plan your climb. But you don't have to figure out the path all by yourself. Now that you've cleared some space, it's time to get a map from the most experienced guide you could possibly ask for, your future self.
Here's another really powerful visualization exercise. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and just picture a room with two chairs. Sit in one, and then invite the version of you who has already climbed this mountain, your highest potential self, to sit down in the other one. Take a second to really observe them. How do they carry themselves? How do they speak? And then ask them for advice. Ask them, what is my very next step?
Now, this isn't some kind of magic. It's actually a way of tapping into your own subconscious wisdom. See, your mind has been absorbing information and seeing patterns your entire life. This exercise is kind of like having a radio to contact an expert climber who's already way further up the mountain. That expert is you, and they can see the path ahead much more clearly.
All right, you have your guide, you've shed the baggage, and now it is time to climb. Let's talk about the ascent itself. The key here isn't to try and leap to the summit in one giant jump. Nope. It's about taking it one small, manageable step at a time.
The tool for this climb is called the microshift. A microshift is a change that's so tiny it feels almost meaningless, and that's the whole point. That uncomfortable feeling we get when we try to change, it isn't a sign we're doing something wrong. It's just our brain's ancient alarm system freaking out over something unfamiliar. Big changes trigger that fear alarm, but microshifts, they're small enough to sneak right past it.
So what does this actually look like?
Well, it's not about overhauling your entire diet overnight. It's about changing one part of one meal just once. It's not quitting social media cold turkey, it's making a conscious 3-second shift away from scrolling and towards something else. Each action is tiny, almost effortless, but it's another step up that mountain.
This is the incredible power of compounding, right here in action. One tiny step feels like nothing, but 100 tiny steps? 1,000. Over time, these little micro shifts build on each other, creating this unstoppable momentum that carries you way, way beyond where you started into completely new territory.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important part of this whole journey. Because you know what? Conquering the mountain isn't really the end goal. The real transformation is about who you become in the process of climbing it.
This quote just reframes everything. The mountain isn't an obstacle in your way. The mountain is the way. That thing you're resisting, that challenge that feels impossible, that is your purpose. It's your path, finally made clear. It's a calling to become the person who is capable of making that climb.
So, we're left with this question. The journey over the mountain will change you. A stronger, wiser, more authentic version of you is going to emerge on the other side. The only question left is, who will that person be?